Welcome everyone to another LNO Fireside Chat. My name's Amanda Dennis, and I'm one of your co-hosts for today's chat.
And I am Nate Den, your other co-host, and we are continuing our Aether Sprint series as we present projects that are going up to the sprint here in the next couple weeks. The next project we're going to talk about is Project Weapon. We have one of the team members, Ryan Amador. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. And welcome. Thanks for taking the time to sit down with us today. Again, really the focal point of these series is to highlight what your project is and talk about you and your team, and of course what you guys have worked on up to this point and what your expectations moving forward are. So really, if you want to introduce yourself, Ryan, what your project is, give a shout out to some of your team members, and then me and the team here will just jump in with questions about your journey.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, first off, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. I wish the other team members could be here, but they just got things going on. So, name Sergeant Ryan Amador. I am the Wing Innovation Officer here at the 52nd. And we came up with Project Weapon. It's an adapter cable for armament, which provides power to a store system tester, and we've come a long way. This journey started in about 2021. I was an AFREP technician, and for those who don't know what AFREP is, it's Air Force Repair Enhancement Program. And and as a technician, I saw an opportunity to innovate something for armament, which is the adapter, and eliminate a lot of the equipment that they currently use. That's in a nutshell. Would you like me to go in deeper with that?
Yeah, why don't we? Honestly, Ryan, why don't you start with where you jumped on board with the project? Obviously, you said 2021 there. I know for a lot of innovation projects, especially with how the Air Force moves its people every couple of years and stuff, some people start a project and never get to see the finish line if there technically is one. Were you there in the beginning when this started? Were you kind of jumped on board in the middle of those years? Do you still have team members that were there in the beginning that are with you, and what was some of that turnover like?
Oh, yeah. So a lot happened since 2021, and the way it got started as far as discovering this, that we could build this adapter, was when Armament came to me with a junction box and said, could you please fix this? And it's part of our current setup. And then when we went down there to test this junction box, we realized that, hey, we can eliminate a lot of equipment and just go directly to the source, and power on this store system tester. So we originally had a small team, and it was me and Anthony Cicchino. He's over at ACCA4 in Langley Air Force Base. And we were kind of going back and forth with the idea and building a prototype. And then when we built the first prototype, that's when we started doing testing, and we realized that, hey, we're getting clean power from one of the aerospace ground equipment units. And that's my background, is age. So that's how I knew clean power was being provided from one of our power units. And yeah, after that, it was more getting past the bureaucracy, the roadblocks that engineers that own the SST were like, no, you can't plug in directly to it. And we're like, well, how do we get to yes? So I would say on and off, we went over the years, we went back and forth, and now we're here. And with Tesseract's help, especially Sergeant Barry, breaking down those barriers have got us to this point. So we're very, very happy with that.
That's awesome. I have a question. I noticed that you have a team that is spread around the world. How did you
Yeah.
guys come together to collaborate on this project?
Well, so Matt Conley was he was in the innovation office here at Spangdahlem Air Base. He just PCS to Osan, and then Anthony Cicchino was here, and he was the armament flight chief, and he PCS'd as well. So that's when Sergeant Stoiner got involved, and then Mick James is the ATS. Automated test systems engineer at Robins Air Force Base that got involved with us for building prototype number 2, which is where we're currently at.
That is awesome that you guys have stuck together, even with, like Nate mentioned, we all PCS, we only have so much time at each station. And so often we see projects fall through because there's no follow through because nobody takes it up or continues it on. So kudos to you guys. You mentioned that you guys just finished your prototype 2. Are you guys preparing to start the next round of testing? Is that where the future lies here for you guys?
Yes. So we haven't finished prototype 2 yet, but we've inquired the right parts list from Robins Air Force Base, and we are in the procurement stage. And once we get all the parts, then we'll build prototype 2 here at Spangdahlem Air Base, and most likely test at Nellis Air Force Base.
Okay.
So Ryan, you talked about the project a little bit and the team and your connectivity. Can you describe, what pain point or problem that you guys are exactly solving with this innovation?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So in the European theater, Spangdahlm's mission is solely focused on ACE, I would say. So we are in a lot of places at once. And with the current setup, the armament setup, the equipment that goes with them, there's only one set of it. So it can't go to multiple locations at one time. That is our issue. So we gotta pick and choose where it's gonna go. And with Project Weapon, that solves having to bring all this equipment and only having the cable. And there will always be a Dash 60 generator that Age will bring on a deployment for the RF-16s. So that's where we realized, man, we can do the same testing with less, and that's what, again, where Project Weapon comes in.
That's awesome, because I know your guys' challenge statement involved minimizing footprint, and you guys nailed that with this. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what are some challenges you guys are dealing with and moving forward?
Well, that's a good question. So the challenges, I would say, have been, I guess, just getting all the right parts from all the different vendors, and that's our current situation. We've gone past working with our engineers now, and they were at one point the barrier, like I was saying earlier. So right now our challenges are just getting all the parts that we need, and there's quite a bit of them to make prototype 2, which is gonna hopefully be the approved cable that gets pushed out to the rest of the F-16 armament community.
Hey, Ryan, you mentioned some of the bureaucracy just for the hurdles of that, just for trying to plug something into a piece of machinery. What type of hurdles, and we'll even go the positive side, what type of champions in your leadership realm have you had along this journey that you were able to walk in their office or start your pitch, and either they were on board or they were not on board, and how was it navigating the human side to try to solve this problem?
Ooh, I got to think back on that one. That is a really good question. So I would say that when we first came to leadership and presented this, the big worry was that this is a nuclear certified piece of equipment. So for us to plug in something new that's not approved for test, even though we proved out that clean power was coming out of this cable, we still got shut down by a chief, which I won't name their name, but yeah, it's we got shut down, and then we tried to go around it, go to the engineers, whether it was at a PWIG. It wasn't me so much as Anthony and Randy Stoiner. They're armament guys, so that was their wheelhouse, and they would talk to folks, and they still were like, hey, that's a great idea, but you need to get buy-in from ATS, and we just never got that buy-in. So yeah, we had there was a lot of bureaucracy, and I get it. There's only so many of these store system testers out there for the armament team, and when one goes down, it really hurts the shops.
Jill, Tanner, do you guys have any questions that you would like to ask Ryan?
But yeah, I think a question I would have is really diving into kind of sort of you and your teammates as people. What inspired you to, instead of just working something locally, or, what was the impetus point where you thought more people needed to get their eyes on it and you wanted to use EtherSprint as a platform for you guys to share your ideas and share who you are kind of with the logistics and maintenance enterprise?
So yeah, again, another good question. So I would say that getting buy-in from folks it can be tough, especially when it's something new and we're trying to make a change. A lot of people have that mindset of, this is the way we've done it and we're just going to stick with it. But there was a lot of areas for faults, especially in the current setup. So talking with a bunch of individuals about this and getting it on their radar was one thing. Working with Tesseract to get, again, past the barriers of the engineers, that was our biggest challenge. And once we did that and everybody was on board, things have been a lot more smooth on our side for building the prototype 2 and getting to, I guess, yes, right? Like, yes, you can build it, and yes, we can go test it. And that's huge. I would say I'm the champion of this, to really, I was persistent. I was very, very persistent in trying to get this cable approved. And it took a long time. I mean, we're in 2024 now, so it's been quite the journey.
Was there any point, Ryan, that you thought to yourself, maybe this just isn't worth it?
Absolutely. Yeah. Life goes on, right? So, I have my responsibilities, and I was doing other innovations on top of this one. So yeah, it was, there was months that went by where I didn't do anything. So.
I'm glad you didn't give up, and I'm glad you had a good team that kept pushing you forward. And I'm glad that you were able to connect with Tesseract to get through those barriers so that you could, make this something that can be used across the Air Force. And that's your intent, right? Is to have this used by all F-16 bases, and you guys are going to make that happen. So that's awesome.
Yep, that's the plan. So and we know we'll get there. So again, our whole team is super grateful for the Tesseract team and what they've done for us, and it's really shown that we can get to yes if we collaborate and yeah. It shouldn't have to be that way, but look, we're here now and we're doing great. So super happy.
Well, hopefully you guys not giving up is paving the way for other teams to do the same. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan. One of the questions I've asked almost all the people that we talk to is, knowing what you know now on your journey in the innovation space, what's the piece of advice that you're going to go back and give to a young airman or younger you now, 3 to 5 years ago, that you needed to know on this journey, or would have at least helped you a little bit over those hurdles?
Oh gosh. I would say just being persistent, not accepting no, and really, I would say not pissing people off like that. That's another big one. I'll just say that because you don't want to upset individuals. Like I think on the way I did a little bit because I was like, gosh, this is a no brainer. Like, why aren't we doing this? And a lot of people got annoyed, and there's a way to go about certain things, and I know a lot of airmen. I'm not the only one that really pushes for change, and yeah, I would say that staying persistent with like an innovation that they have or the idea that they have and get buy-in from leadership is super, just it's important. You gotta make the right connections too. And for me, I've grown since 2021, and I have been able to connect with so many individuals, and through my journey, I've been able to use those connections and get to yes a lot faster. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
No, that's great advice. I think at least the theme that I hear from, I mean, obviously from you and a lot of the teams and individuals that we talk to is, um, no one really anticipated or had been prepared for the human element side of moving their project through. So not only are they, growing a product and solving a solution, but they're becoming better people and airmen. And I think that's an interesting part of the journey. And I'm super thankful that one, you stayed persistent, and that's a lesson that you're not only able to learn yourself, but now you're able to give back to the community. So not only are you solving an actual physical tactical problem, but you're creating better people and airmen as well.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, absolutely doing that. So, and I love this job. I mean, I'm helping airmen every day, and this is great. And it's always nice to tell them, if they don't know the route to go, I'm like, hey, look, I have a ton of contacts, and we can get to yes. Just stick with it. So.
I'll open it up for some final questions, and then otherwise, I think we can close this up or close the loop.
I don't have any more questions. I guess for you, Ryan, are there any shout outs you'd like to throw out there before we get to closing thoughts?
I just want to thank the Tesseract team for helping Project Weapon get this far, and then I would say I'm proud of the team for just sticking with it. Matt Conley, Randy Stoiner, Anthony Ticino, Mick, and myself. It's been quite the journey, and we're happy to see we're getting places now. So yeah, big shout out to those folks. So.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ryan. Thank you to your team. I'm excited to see where Project Weapon moves forward on this. And thank you for adjusting your schedule and meeting with us today.
No, yeah, no, thank you. Appreciate it.
Good luck with the semifinals, and hopefully we see you on the stage next month or in a month.
Any references to trademarked, copyrighted, or protected products or services, such as books, movies, or businesses are used here for the limited purpose of education and professional development of Air Force airmen. If you have any questions, please contact us at www.tesseract.af.mil.